Hello, Facebook. Hello, Instagram. How are you guys today? I am coming to you live. Oh, Instagram. Let me put in my headphones. I forgot. Let me just do that. Coming to you live on Thursdays, as per my usual, right? As per my usual. Jen Sully, how are you? I was thinking of you the other day. You should send me an update. I see you on Instagram. I see you, Jen. Let me put in my headphones for Instagram so you guys can hear me better. And look at you guys are rolling on Facebook, rolling on Instagram. I think this is an important topic today. I feel like everybody wants to hear about it. My little Instagram setup. Okay. Hi, guys. So thank you so much. Anyway, let's just start there. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am so honored to be able to be with you. I'm so honored that you allow me to be a part of your life, and I'm honored that you tune in to hear me talk about the things I talk about every week. So to all the newcomers, welcome, and we're so happy to have you. To everybody who's been with me for a while, you're awesome. You're just fucking awesome, and I appreciate you so very much. So you guys are, welcome to my new office and my new home. I think this is the second week. I put some pictures up on the wall. You can see them behind me. I'm making a little kind of, wall of fun things. And I love my triangle wood piece in the center. You can see my dad's ashes like right above my head. Oh, well. Anyway, hi. So you guys know who I am. I'm Aimee Raupp, and I'm here to help you live your healthiest, best life, because that's what you deserve, right? So health to me is mental, it's emotional, it's physical, and nutritional. Yes, I'm an acupuncturist by training. Before that, a biologist and chemist, and 15 years of clinical practice. I've written 3 books all about how you can optimize your health and your vitality. Books on fertility, books on autoimmunity, books on general health. So I am here to guide you, to inspire you, to hold you while you achieve the life of your dreams. And I know the life of your dreams involves being as healthy as possible on the mental, emotional, physical, and nutritional aspects. And for today's topic, since I wrote the best-selling book called Yes, You Can Get Pregnant, here we go. If you guys don't have your copy, please get one. It's a good book. If you're trying to conceive, this book will change your game entirely. And then if you really like the book, if you have read the book and you haven't had a chance to, leave a review for the book. It helps us reach more women who need this message. And yeah, I know I've sold over 10,000 copies, 15,000 copies, and there's only 51 Amazon reviews. So let's get some more reviews out there, people. So today's topic, I wrote the trauma of trying to conceive. I know we wrote something similar when we were boosting this post. And it comes up a lot in what I do, right? So I wrote the book, Yes, You Can Get Pregnant. I've been in clinical practice for 15 years. Majority of my practice is helping women conceive. And I now coach women all over the world on their path to optimal fertility. I have a digital course that helps women improve their fertility, and I host weekly office hours with that community. I just got off that, hosting those office hours with that community. And so I talk to this population and interact with this population all the time. And I have learned a lot as well. I've even learned stuff since writing Yes, You Can Get Pregnant. And Yes, You Can Get Pregnant is a very hopeful and optimistic book, as it should be, because I do believe there is a lot of hope when it comes to your fertility and your ability to conceive in your 30s, 20s, and even in your 40s. If you live in a state of optimal health, your fertility will thrive. They're not separate. And again, health is mental, it's emotional, it's spiritual, it's nutritional, right? So it's all of those things. And and like I was saying, Yes, You Can Get Pregnant is a really hopeful book. And I hold this space of major optimism and faith for you. But I want to not confuse that with the importance of processing and acknowledging the trauma that this experience has brought for you. whether you've been trying to conceive for 6 months and it's not working, or you've been at this for 6 years, or done 7 IVFs or IUIs, or have had major abdominal surgeries for fibroids or cysts or scar tissue, or have seen 4 different fertility doctors. I can be somebody's 5th or 6th acupuncturist. Some of my girls come in and they know more about the latest fertility treatments than I do. It's intense. So what I wanted to talk to you guys about today was I feel like in the world of self-help right now, and I touch upon this in Body Belief, and I think I touch upon it in Yes, You Can Get Pregnant too. It's just this sense of positivity and optimism. And, when and where can that be detrimental to us? And I think in the world of fertility and trying to conceive, fertility challenges, endometriosis, polycystic ovaries, premature ovarian failure, whatever your diagnosis might be, before we can ever get to the place of hope, or even if we are in the place of hope, we also still need to be in the space of honoring what we've been through, of acknowledging the sadness and the fear and the anger and the devastation. That if we ignore the negative emotions, they will just continue to come back and haunt us. So from a Chinese medicine perspective, every disease, every disharmony in the body, has an emotional correlate. Whether it came first or it came second doesn't really matter, right? And so, but if we don't acknowledge and process that emotional correlate, it will just kind of stifle and grow inside of us and create more harm than good. So honoring and witnessing the trauma that you have been through, regardless of what your path is in comparison to somebody else's, where you might say, oh, I only had 1 miscarriage and my friend, she had 6. So who am I to feel bad for myself? No, that's bullshit. You had a miscarriage and that sucks. You need to honor that. That sucks. That is sad and that is heartbreaking. And yes, some of us manage things differently, but do not ignore the emotions that you have, and do not try to sugarcoat them with all this hope and positivity and these mantras. And, no, we need to, as my spiritual teacher says, if you need to sit with the negative emotion, not too long, but long enough to understand the belief that it hands you. So, I think the biggest belief I see a lot of in dealing with women trying to conceive is this belief that you are broken. This feeling like I am not good enough. I am doing all these things and I'm still not getting pregnant. And there's this woman over there who smokes crack, and look at her. She's got her 3rd kid coming out, and I say that, I didn't make that up. I hear that often, and I get it. It just doesn't make any sense. And so you deserve to honor that pain. You deserve to honor that confusion. You deserve to honor the fact that you are really showing up for yourself and it's still not working. And you're allowed to be sad about that. You're allowed to feel defeated. You're allowed to feel, where is my stuff? Why? And I actually think until you acknowledge it, until you surrender to it, until you accept, I'm freaking pissed off that this isn't working for me. Or even, I'm so sick and tired of being so perfect at everything and it's still not working out for me. Until you acknowledge that, does the radical healing take place? Does the shift happen? So I wrote this thing down before I came on. I just wrote 3 words: hope, faith, surrender. This came up on a coaching call I had with a client who just had her 4th miscarriage. I've known her through, this is the one I've known her through, but she had 3 before we started working together. Obviously devastating. This one was, I think, and I said this to her because she's just, it was 6 months ago and she's still just wrecked from it. And, I said to her, I think we could say that all the miscarriages have sucked, but this one was the worst because you've been following my program, right? She's in my e-course. She's been coaching privately with me. She's doing all the things. She really is. You know, I do think there's some autoimmune things going on, and we finally got her to the right doctor who's going to support her in the right way. So I don't think we're missing anything from the natural perspective or from all the things that are in her control perspective. And I do think she needs the proper support from the right autoimmune fertility doctor. And I think we finally have that in place. But I said to her, but I think this one is the most defeating because, you know, it's just such a kick in the face. And, you know, and she said, and I'm having a hard time finding hope right now. And I said, but maybe that's okay. Maybe you don't need hope right now. Maybe hope is like too much pressure. You know, how can you have hope when, yeah, you just had another miscarriage and you're working with, like, you know, I feel like I've been around the block 30 dozen times. I know what I'm talking about, you know, and I do feel like there is hope because now we have this new doctor in place who I think is going to support her in the right way. And she had resistance to that because she really wants to do it as naturally as possible. And believe me, I'm like the queen of holistic, but there is a time and a place for Western medicine, and I fully believe in it. And when there's these recurrent miscarriages, especially, you guys who have worked with me know I am all for taking the prednisone. I am all for taking the Lovenox. I am all for those autoimmune protocols. And I've seen it change the game for girls. And so there was some resistance there, but she should have just said, how do I have hope? And I just said, maybe you don't right now. Or maybe you don't even see it, because I think if you were completely hopeless, like for you guys, you wouldn't even be showing up to this conversation. And I think if she was completely hopeless, she would cancel her appointment with me. She wouldn't be talking to me. If she was completely hopeless, she wouldn't still be trying to conceive. She wouldn't have made the appointment with the autoimmune fertility doctor like I urged. She's not hopeless. She just doesn't have the level of hope that she had before, you know? So she's been knocked down from this place of like, I always believed it was going to happen, to now I'm in the space of, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure this is going to happen for me. That's okay. I think the key for her was to just acknowledge that, to say that to me. She didn't want to cry. She started apologizing when she started to cry on the phone with me. And I said, no, this is a safe space and you need to cry. You need to get this out. You need to be mad. You need to be angry. You know, when I first met her, she was so angry at a lot of her doctors because they had missed so many things. I had her write a letter to her one doctor that she was really mad at. I said, you never have to send it. You're going to burn it after you write it, but you need to get that anger out. And then this time, and, you know, one of my girls, you're on here, and, you know, you remember this. I had you write a letter to, she wrote a letter to her uterus because she was really freaking mad at her womb for all the losses, for all the scar tissue. And, you know, and she wasn't getting any, we were doing retrievals and she wasn't getting any normal embryos. And when she started working with me, you know, all this anger and frustration that she was kind of masking with this, oh, I need to be hopeful. I need to be optimistic. Otherwise it's not going to work for me. I need to believe, and I need to be happy all the time. And she was doing all these things, right? And I was like, yeah, but deep down, you're really pissed off at your body. So I had her write a letter to her uterus. I like, let her have it, rip it, let it out. You got to get it out. And then there was no coincidence that within, I think, what was it, maybe the second cycle, we got a normal embryo. Yeah, just like that. And she said to me, no coincidence whatsoever. I let go of that fear. I let go of that anger. Like she let it out. You have to let it out. This process is not easy. No one says it is. And anyone who says it is lying. It is not easy, no matter where you are on the path. So cut yourself some slack. Give yourself some grace. If you don't have days where you feel hopeful, that's okay. Call yourself out. I'm not feeling hopeful today. I said that to my client. You're not feeling hopeful because you just had a miscarriage 6 months ago. And then your husband lost his job, and then you guys had to move. Life has been tough for the last 6 months. Cut yourself some slack. I don't need you to be hopeful. I want you to cry. If you didn't cry right now with me, I think I'd be more worried about that, because that means you're stifling the emotions and you're not letting them process, okay? So then we talked about faith. Do you have faith in your body right now? her faith is pretty low. So I step back. Do you have faith that your body is, how's your skin been? She doesn't get acne anymore. She doesn't get eczema anymore. How's your digestion been? She has healthy bowel movements every day. How's your sleep been? Good sleep. How's your energy been? Good energy. How's your period? Her period has been awesome. It's been coming regularly. She's ovulating, right? So getting back to like, okay, maybe I don't have faith in this overarching thing, like that I'm going to have this baby. Maybe that faith has been a little compromised, but I do have faith in other things. I have faith in my marriage. I have faith in, because she was saying, she wanted a child long before her husband did. And she goes to that space of like, maybe I should have just married somebody different who would have given me a child right away. And now I wouldn't be 38 on my 4th miscarriage and no baby to show for it, right? But then we unpack that, and the truth is, the answer came up. My husband is the love of my life. I'm so glad I didn't marry the previous guy. Like, this is where I'm supposed to be, and right. So she has faith in her marriage. She has faith in the timing of things, but she's still allowed to be pissed off at the timing of things, right? Does that make sense? So it's like, I feel like in this world of self-help right now, it's all about like, oh, you have to, force yourself to trust the timing. I do think we get to the place where we trust the timing, but we have to experience and allow that negative emotion to come up. So we have to be able to sit with ourselves and say, it's okay. You've been through a lot and this is painful. And you have every right to be sad, you have every right to be mad, you have every right to have a pity party. And then tell me, what would you be doing differently, right? Think about that too. On the call before with my e-course girls, it's like someone was asking, like, should I see a chiropractor? Should I get my spine aligned? Maybe that's having something to do with my uterus. And I was like, absolutely, if that feels good for you. I do not want the throw everything at the wall and see what sticks kind of approach, because that's like desperation. I want this to come from a place of inspired action. I want this to feel like the next logical right step. And the only way we can get to that inspired action is through having clarity. And we get clarity through feeling every single one of our emotions. We get clarity through living in our body 100%. All of which I talk about in Yes, You Can Get Pregnant and in Body Belief, and even in my first book, 10 Years Old, Chill Out and Get Healthy. I talk about this topic all the time. We need to be in our body and feel every single thing and allow ourselves to feel every single thing and be okay with every single thing in order for it to begin to shift. We cannot shift if we ignore it. If we just want to look the other way, is not gonna change. It's not gonna shift. You are, in fact, doing more harm than good because you're actually giving more attention to the thing you're trying to ignore. Does anybody relate? Give me a hands up. I know this is a really sensitive topic. I see some like claps on Instagram. Some hearts are coming up. I see some hearts on Facebook. Let's see. What do you suggest when the trauma creates such anxiety for you that it is hard to balance? Jamie, I think that's a great question. And that came up where one of my girls said, like, what if the same belief keeps coming up again and again? How do we manage that? This was just in my e-course group. And I said, it's not going to go away necessarily. It's just that you'll be able to like, oh, there it is again. Right. So the question you ask yourself is, I see some hearts, so people are relating. When you have the anxiety, Jamie, the question is, what are you believing to feel this feeling? So when you have that negative emotion, the question is, what must I be believing to have this anxiety, to have this fear, to feel like I'm broken, to feel like it's never going to work out? And the answer is, you must be believing that you are broken, that this is never going to work out for you. And so I want you to sit with that belief and be like, okay, so that's my belief right now. My belief is that this isn't going to work for me, that I'm never going to get to the other side of this. I see lots of hearts coming up. So you guys are feeling this. That's my belief. And that makes me feel sad. And so then you say to yourself, all right, but if I want this thing, right? If I really want this baby, when I get to the other side of that, when I'm on my more hopeful days, right? When I'm not feeling anxiety, what am I believing? I'm believing that there is a possibility for me, that maybe I haven't tried all the options. Maybe I haven't looked under every rock. Maybe I haven't, really 100% committed to going 100% gluten-free and dairy-free. And maybe I haven't taken the supplements for 3 months solid. And maybe I don't meditate every day. And maybe I haven't unpacked all these emotions. And so there are more things I can do. And okay, so if I do those things, maybe, maybe I do have a little more hope, right? So it's not about the anxiety completely dissipating, although the anxiety will dissipate. I'm certain of that when you really acknowledge the fear. When you actually, I think you should write it out. I fear this is never going to work for me. I fear that I really am broken and I am destined to never have a child. That is my greatest, deepest fear. And then you sit with that. Okay. All right, so I've let it out. And then what are some of my other, fears? And then what are some of my hopes? What are some of my other beliefs? Like maybe this could work for me, right? Maybe things could shift. So to just start to sit, you got to sit with it, because the anxiety is 100% you're ignoring it. You're going like this. I don't want to hear this. I don't want to deal with this today. I'm too busy. I don't have time for this. I just want to put it in a box and move on, and I'm going to do my gluten-free, dairy-free diet, and eventually it's going to work. And I just want to ignore this pain. You cannot ignore this pain. It will just keep coming back in the form of anxiety or depression until you address it. So you got to address it, and then you will start to feel the balance. And then the next time it comes up, it's going to get easier and easier. Oh, there's that fear again. I'm in that space of feeling broken again. Okay. But and even if you just use me, Aimee doesn't think I'm broken. And there were other women who thought that they were broken, and they got to the other side of this. So this could work for me, right? So it's this starting to talk yourself off the ledge, as my teacher Abraham says. But you have to first acknowledge the belief. You have to first acknowledge the negative emotion, and not just, oh, I'm feeling anxious. That's not deep enough. You've got to go deeper to the belief. Maria, your words resonate so much. After my third miscarriage in a row, I finally was confronted with all my emotions that I was working so hard to ignore. So yes, we need to be mad, angry, sad too. Yes. Maria's in my group, so she knows. She gets me every week in that e-course group, and she's coached with me too. My husband and I have been trying for 3 years. I only have one ovary and recent HSG, so my only tube is blocked. I don't know where to pull the hope from. Sally, it is. That's hard. That's really hard. So it's then saying, okay, am I open to the possibility of doing IVF? Other women in my shoes have gotten pregnant with IVF, so I guess there's hope there, and maybe I haven't pursued that option. I'd still say too, to look at diet and look at supplements, do things like acupuncture, do things like mind abdominal massage, because it can really improve blood flow and circulation. Castor oil packs to the ovary and to the tube that might actually help with the structural blockage and help open it up. But I would also consider IVF. Like the way you have hope in a situation like that, and a lot of girls have been here too, is just, have I pursued all my options? Have I truly, truly pursued all my options? Am I willing to look at all my options? It's that definition of, you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. That's not going to work either. So it's like, okay, I have to accept this. This is what my body is telling me right now. I have one ovary and my tube is blocked. So, okay, if you and I were working together, I'd be very frank with you. Okay, your best option is going to be IVF, but I would still also do these things to help optimize egg quality, to help optimize uterine health, to help optimize blood flow to the ovaries and the tube, ovary and the tube, right? And begin to shift that way. But so, the hope is, first, it's about saying, yeah, right now I feel hopeless. I feel very defeated and sad about this. And understanding that, right? That I feel defeated and sad over this. And one of my girls, I won't call you out, but you just popped up on Instagram, and she went through a lot, and now has her beautiful babies at home. And gosh, what are they, like 3 or 4 or 5 now, maybe? Makes me cry. I think about some of our conversations of like the trauma that she went through with her miscarriages, and then finally though hitting this space of like, yeah, I have lost hope on many levels, but these are the other options that I haven't yet pursued, and I'm willing to pursue those options. And she did pursue those options, and it did work. It did work, and it was a beautiful miracle. I won't share who she is, but you know, we decided to do IVF, and she got 2 babies out of it, and it was a beautiful, beautiful end to the story. And I get to watch them grow up through the likes of Instagram. It's fun. But, you know, I think, Sally, going back to you, it's like, I don't know where to pull hope from. And that's okay. Like, I think that's it right now, too, just to sit with that. Oh, there you go, Kyle. Okay, so Kyle's open. So then she decided to use the donor egg, and we put one back in and got identical twin girls out of it. I love you so much, Kyle. Yeah, it was so special. But I remember, you know, I could cry now. I remember the treatment room we were in when we had that conversation. And I remember the decision for you. So clear on, but you know, and those miscarriages led you to that. You know, that was not a clear option at one point. And not to say that I think you deserve to go through those losses by any means, and that was devastating. But you know, she came to this space where it was like, this is my clear choice, and this is what I'm going to do. And then, you know, God gave her 2, and they're so fucking cute, you know, and, but not to say that the trauma she went, like, but we honored that trauma. And I really think you did, you know, Carl, you sat with that, and we worked through it, and it was sad, you know, but it was also like, but this is how my babies are meant to come to me. And it was just so clear, because obviously then they did, and it was, you know, and it's perfect. You know, so I think though you're also allowed to have those moments, those moments of hopelessness, and to allow that, right? To allow that space, because from that acknowledgement of the hopelessness, from that acknowledgement of the sadness and the trauma, will then maybe come the inspired action that you then take next, which will lead you towards another path of hope or of faith, or, you know, really of surrender, right? So I wrote those 3 words down: hope, faith, and surrender. So it's like, hope might not always be there, faith might not always be there, but like the one thing you can do is acknowledge how you're feeling, acknowledge the trauma, and then hand it over and be like, I just need some guidance here. But if you ignore those emotions, you're not going to get to the place of surrender. You're not going to get to the place of acknowledgement. And then the inspired action doesn't have the space to come through. Whitney, I love this, Aimee. Oh, thank you, Whitney. Michelle, so needed to hear this today. Thank you very much. Stacy Moskowitz, I love you. I relate. I've been getting much better at recognizing the emotions and deal with the wave in the moment, but recognizing when I should redirect myself. Otherwise, I just stay in the wave too long. Yeah, and that's it too. Of like Abraham has this thing of like, don't stay there for more than 17 seconds, which I think is a little, Abraham's one of my other spiritual teachers. I think it's a little strict. I think you should stay there long enough to like, it gives you the belief in it, and it helps you just feel like you're holding space for yourself. And you'll know that. There is no time limit on that. You'll know that. But also, like, at some point you ask yourself, how is this serving me? Like, if the path I want, the direction I want to go in is to get pregnant or to have these children, and whether that's IVF or donor eggs, or to continue naturally, to switch doctors, to try a certain diet, to commit to certain things that you're not committed to before, whatever it is, it's the question is, how is this, you know, being in the negative emotion, how is it serving me? And how is it helping me get to where I want to be? And so then at some point you start to pull yourself out. And, you know, you start, and I think it's the consciousness, the conscious awareness of like what I am feeling, how is it serving me? How am I moving the ball forward? Like I said to the coaching client that I was talking about the other day that just had the 4th miscarriage, I was like, basically, right, because she said, I don't even know how to move forward, and I don't know how to not look back, you know, and with regret and coulda, shoulda, wouldas. And I said, well, basically what you're doing then is you're just keeping yourself right here. You're just stuck. You're not going anywhere. And looking back doesn't really serve you, and you're afraid to look forward. She's scared shit to look forward. She's scared shit to try and get pregnant again. She's scared. So right here is what we have to do, is we have to unpack and say, I'm scared. I'm not sure I have that much hope. I'm not sure I have that much faith. And then from that came, yes, I'm gonna follow up with that immunology doctor. And yes, my husband and I are willing to try again. I want to continue to try naturally, and I'm about to ovulate. And so what should I do? And I was like, okay, so there is a little hope. But basically, I just gave her permission to like unpack this gunk that's just basically keeping her set and stolid there, right? Sharon, why I always hate when someone tells me to just relax or be positive. Okay, but that's not where I actually am right now. I've been through a lot, and there are a lot of feelings that come with that. I've learned it is okay and necessary to feel what I feel before I can look forward to where I do want to be and where I do want to feel. That's right. Sharon and I coach together, and she's in my e-course, and yeah, she's transformed so much too. And that was the big thing, to just hold space. That's what I find myself doing. I'm just holding space for you guys to heal and to feel what you're feeling and to be okay with it. And to also not think that negative emotions are going to basically not allow you to get pregnant, because that's a bunch of bullshit. Negative emotions that are unprocessed could prevent you from getting pregnant. But negative emotions, feeling all your emotions, is not going to prevent pregnancy. Must get back to work, but wanted to tell the ladies that there is hope after miscarriage, and following Aimee says in the fish oil. Oh, I love you, Colleen. There is hope. There is hope. Yeah, Kyle was with me back when I was just finished writing this guy. And you're actually in the video on the book trailer for Yes, You Can Get Pregnant. Just, it's like your arm and your leg. And Stacy, you are too. Isn't that funny? Two girls down. You guys, it means so much to me that you're still with me all these years later. You already had your babies. You know, but yeah, both you guys, that's funny. You're in there. All the girls in there went on to have their babies, which is so beautiful. So yeah, Sharon, I mean, I think that was it's a huge lesson. And it's been a lesson for me too, as I've evolved and as I've grown. And I think I've grown up since writing Yes, You Can Get Pregnant. And maybe I do put too much pressure on you to be positive all the time, but it's more just that, like, there's reason to have hope, because look, I have worked with the worst cases you can think of. I have worked with them, and I have seen them go on to have their children. So I have hope. You know, that's what my client said to me on Tuesday when we were talking. She was like, but how do you have hope? And it made me cry. How do you have hope? And I was like, I said to her, I don't know. I just do. I have hope because I am certain that, you know, I always say, like, you don't make it to me unless you have a little bit of hope, right? And I don't think I'm able to hold space for the women that I don't have hope for. And I can hold space for this woman, and I can see it for her. So do I have like the hardcore scientific answer as to what it is she needs to do? No, but I do think she's got all the right pieces in place right now. And I do think she's going to take home more than one baby, actually. And I always thought that for Colleen, and I always thought that for all these girls that are on here, that you know who you are, and, you know, and that's it. And I don't always know why. But I suppose that's why this is my calling, right? And one thing, though, I think that just needs to be honored is that this isn't an easy process, but you do get to the other side of it, as Colleen is showing proof. You know, there is hope after miscarriage, and yeah, and it works. And, you know, life is so beautiful. It's so fun to watch, you know, my girls with their kids and the pictures. You know, social media helps with that. And I think about a time when, yeah, there was very little hope. And I remember that too. So does anybody have any other comments or questions on this topic? I mean, lots of feedback here. I hope you guys can relate. So, I mean, I think the biggest thing I would say is to just honor your feeling and try to unpack the belief behind it. Oh, and I forgot to mention, right, so I am hosting a live Q&A. So if you guys are interested in my thoughts on your case, you know, what I can do to help you, or what direction I would give for you, in my Ultimate Fertility membership on the 26th, so that's next week, I'm hosting a live Q&A. I'm going to talk a little bit more about trauma with that group. There's so many resources in my Ultimate Fertility membership. It's $22 a month, but if you go to aimeeraupp.com/UFM and use the promo code first month free, you get the first month free on me. And so you would get the Q&A for free, and you could join in on the 26th. Ask me your questions about your case, and I can help guide you. And that is my true passion in life. So honestly, if you're at all called to do that, do it. And also check out the Ultimate Fertility membership. We've been told by many that they're overwhelmed by all the information in there, and that then they start to feel like, oh, I'm not doing enough. So it's the last thing I wanted to do, but there's that much information in the Ultimate Fertility membership that's at your fingertips for free when you join. You know, and I guess I would just say to that is just follow what inspires you, follow what feels good. But at the very least, take advantage of the first month's free coupon code and join me for the Q&A and let me help you get some insight on your case. So grateful for you. This is such a good reminder. I'm going to message you now for another session. Oh, Jen, good. I've been thinking about you, so good. I'm glad to hear that. The real Kate Davey, how are you, young lady? I think I still have like Aimee Raupp Beauty at my office for you, your order from 100 years ago. I should just mail it to you. But Sally, thank you for your response. I felt like IVF was giving up on my body's natural process, but I know I need to change my perspective. Yeah, not at all. Not at all, Sally, not at all. It's working with what you have, right? Women do it all the time. And I think a lot of women do it when they don't necessarily need to do it, but not at all. You're not giving up hope. Kate Davey. Okay, guys, I'm going to go because I'm going to do some self-care today. And I love you guys so much. Okay, so check out the Ultimate Fertility membership if you haven't already joined. AimeeRaupp.com/UFM. Use the promo code first month free. Get the live Q&A with me and ask me questions about your case. And then access all the incredibleness that is the Ultimate Fertility membership. Every month I make a new meditation for you. We highlight a new product. There's a Facebook group that goes with it. There's an awesome community. You get a lot for that $22 a month. And if you use the coupon code, you get the first month free. So, I mean, it's nothing off your back. And you get the Q&A with me. We do quarterly live trainings, and we're turning those into quarterly live trainings / Q&As because there's such a demand for my insight on your case. So take advantage. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. I love you all. I see my Aunt Eileen just joined. I love you. Okay.